Hi, today we're going to be looking at dividing by a two-digit number. So let's get started. Okay, so we're going to look at long division in this video. So long division and place value. Let's see how we could divide the following using long division. So 278 divided by 12. Before we get started with long division, I want to define a few words. So let's go through them. First of all, we're going to come across this word, the dividend. What is the dividend? The dividend is the number to be divided. So in this case, 278 divided by 12, the dividend is the 278. This is the dividend. Okay, awesome. The divisor is the number by which another number is divided. So in this case, 12 is the divisor. Okay. The quotient is the number obtained by dividing one number into another. Essentially, it's another word for saying answer. The quotient is the answer. So whatever the quotient is, whatever the answer is, that's the quotient. Okay? The remainder. What is left over when one number does not divide exactly into another number? So you'll see here when we divide numbers, you might not get a whole answer. You might get a remainder. And I'll show you that in a sec. So let's go ahead and divide this and let's look at this. So to do long division, the first thing you need to do is draw the long division like this. Put the dividend in here, 278, okay? And put the divisor in here, 12. And we're going to start dividing. Well, how do we divide? We look at the number 12 and we say, okay, how many times does 12 go into 2, the first digit? Well, obviously 0. It doesn't go into 2 at all. So we move on and we say, okay, then let's move on to the next digit, 27. How many times does 12 go into 27? Well, 12 goes into 27 twice, right? Because 2 times 12 is 24. So we go ahead and multiply 2 times 12, 24. We draw a line, we subtract, and we say 27 minus 24 is 3. 7 minus 4 is 3. 2 minus 2 is 0. And now we move on to the next step. We drop the 8. So essentially, we're going to go through all of this until we're done with the dividend. So we drop the 8. This becomes a 38. And we ask ourselves, how many times does 12 go into 38? Okay, well, it goes into 38 3 times. So 3 times 12 is 36. We subtract again. 38 minus 36. 8 minus 6 is 2. 3 minus 3 is 0. So the answer is, so what's left here is 2. Now, what do we do here? What do we drop next? We don't drop anything. We're done. We finished the number, right? This was the dividend. We're done with it. So the answer is right here at the very top. That's your answer. That's your quotient. So the quotient for this answer is, for this question is 23. That's the answer. But that's not the complete answer. That's only the whole number. There's actually a remainder. So the remainder here, and what we usually do is any remainder, we bring it up here and we say R2. R stands for remainder. So the remainder is 2 in this particular question. Okay? Let's do a few more questions and let's see if we could really master this concept. Okay, so let's do this question right here. 8,431 divided by 75. Okay, let's have a look at that. How many times does 75 go into 8? 0. How many times does 75 go into 84? 1. So 1 times 75 is 75. We draw a line. We subtract. 84 minus 75. Let's do it. 4 minus 5. We can't do it. So we have to borrow here. So this becomes a 7. This becomes a 14. 14 minus 5, 9. 7 minus 7, 0. We drop the 3. We have 93. How many times does 75 go into 93? Once. 1 times 75 is 75. We subtract again. 3 minus 5, can't do that, so we have to borrow from our neighbor. This becomes an 8. This becomes a 13. 13 minus 5 is 8. 8 minus 7 is 1. We drop this 1 right here. We have 181. How many times does 75 go into 181? Twice, so we put a 2 here. 2 times 75 is 150. And we subtract. 1 minus 0 is 1. Uh, 8 minus 5 is 3. 1 minus 1 is 0. How many times does 75 go into 31? It doesn't. So clearly that is a remainder, and we're done with this number. So our quotient, our answer is 112 with a remainder of 31. Okay, that's our answer. 112 with a remainder of 31. Let's do this one. 8,692 divided by 52. How many times does 52 go into 8? 0. How many times does 52 go into 86? Once. 1 times 52 is 52. We do a little subtraction. 6 minus 2, 4. 8 minus 5, 3. We drop the 9 down. 349. How many times does 52 go into 349? Now, let me pause here and talk to you about something here. I've been doing this, and some of you might be thinking, well, how did he figure out, oh, that 72 goes into 181 twice? There's a few ways you could do this. When you're starting off, you could guess. Let's go ahead and do that. But once you get better with a multiplication and mental math, you could do this in your head. It's pretty easy, and I'll show you a trick real quick right now. But let's start guessing. So, well, 349 is close to 350, and 52 is close to 50. So let's say if we take the two zeros, it's really 5 and 35. And we know the multiples of 5 and 35 is a 7. So 5 times 7 equals 35. So let's guess it might go into it 7 times. So let's do this. 52 times 7. 7 times 2 is 14. We carry the 1. 7 times 5 is 35. Plus 1 is 36. So our answer is 364. Well, 364 is a bit bigger than this, so clearly the answer is not 7. The answer is 6. So 52 goes into 349 6 times. Now, how do we multiply this? We could do this again, but let me show you a faster way. 6 times 52 is a bit hard, but what is 52? 52 can be thought of as 50 and 2, right? So if we multiply 6 by 50 and 2 by 6, we'll get the same answer, okay? Now, why is that easier? It's easier because you know that we could just drop the 0 here, and we just multiply 6 by 5. 6 times 5 is 30. Bring down the 0, that's 300. Okay, and 6 times 2 is 12. 300 plus 12 is 312. So we know that's the answer. 9 minus 2 is 7. 4 minus 1 is 3. And we have 37 left. So we bring down the last digit, which is a 2. And we say, okay, how many times does 52 go into 372? Well, we know if we put 7, it's 364, which works perfectly. So the answer is 7. 7 times 52, we've already done that, 364. We do a little subtraction here. 2 minus 4, we can't do that, so we have to borrow from our neighbors. This becomes a 6, this becomes a 12. 12 minus 4 is 8. 6 minus 6 is 0. And 3 minus 3 is 0. So the 8 is the remainder. The answer, the quotient, is 167 with a remainder of 8. Cool? Okay, let's do the last one. 642 divided by 44. How many times does 44 go into 6? 0. How many times does 44 go into 64? 1. 1 times 44 is 44. We do a little subtraction. 4 minus 4 is 0. 6 minus 4 is 2. It's 20. We bring down this 2. We have 202. How many times does 44 go into 202? Again, you could guess and try it out, but the answer is 4 because 5 is a bit too much. 4 times 44 is 176. We do a little subtraction. 2 minus 6, we can't do that, so we have to borrow from our neighbor. 0. 0 is too small, so we have to borrow from our neighbor. So this becomes a 1. The 0 becomes a 10. Now we could borrow from our neighbor, which is a 10. So this actually becomes a 9 now, and this becomes a 12. So 12 minus 6 is 6. 9 minus 7, 2. 1 minus 1 is 0. The answer here is 26, which is the remainder. So our answer, or our quotient, is 14 with a remainder of 26. That's our answer. So 642 divided by 44 is 14 with a remainder of 26. Okay, awesome. Thank you for watching.